Let us start with this. To start with, you see, in our day-to-day life, we come across many events. That is, events occur in our day-to-day life every now and then. So the starting point of our discussion will be events. Now, what is the definition of event? You can say any day-to-day happening or occurrence is known as an event. But events can be of two types. One is economic event. One is non-economic events. Events meaning events having financial character. Events having financial character. That means it is expressed in terms of money. Suppose we buy goods for cash, or we buy suppose television sets for cash. Then it is this kind of monetary event which will change the financial position. But if we say that my cash in hand at this point of time is rupees 10,000. That means it is expressed in terms of money, but it is not changing the financial position of your business or any organization or any person. It means that this is also monetary event, but it will not change your financial position. This is monetary event will change your financial position, and this is non-monetary in nature. Already we have done that transaction is nothing but an event which will change the financial position of any socio-economic organization. Transaction can be external. Now, external transaction meaning there will be an external party involved in that transaction. That means if you are representing your business, it means with your business some other party outsiders will transact. That means we give or take something, isn't it? External transactions. External transactions can be also of two types. One is cash transactions, one is credit transactions. Therefore, events are of two types: economic events and non-economic events. Economic events are expressed in terms of money. Non-economic events, no money is involved. Economic events are of two types. That is, some events, some economic events which will definitely change your financial position, and some other economic events or monetary events which are expressed in terms of money but will not change your financial position. The events or monetary events which will change your financial position are popularly known as transactions. Therefore, we can conclude that all transactions are events, but all events are not transactions. Now come to transaction. Transaction can be of two types: external and internal. In case of external transaction, that means external monetary events, business is one party and some outside party shall be involved there or must be involved there. Therefore, it is between exchange between two parties. One is business and one outside party. External transactions can be of two types. One is cash transaction, one is credit transaction. In case of external cash transaction, there will be immediate inflow of money due to such transaction or such event, and or outflow of money due to such event. But that has to be immediate. But in case of credit transaction, in terms of money's worth, there is a change. In terms of money's worth, there is a change in the financial position. But the payment will be made after some time, or receipt will be made after some time. Therefore, it becomes transaction of credit transaction nature. What about internal transaction? I have just given you an example, depreciation of assets. Due to loss in the value of asset, maximum 75,000. Then I went to the proprietor for the balance amount. Proprietor says no, I will not pay because we follow separate entity concept, which states that as and when a business is started, proprietor and the business become two different entities. So proprietor is not taking any responsibility. Proprietor says it is all about business, so go to the business accountant and ask for money. Therefore, the case goes to the court. Court says no, proprietor is not right. Proprietor is not right. Why? Because there is a concept of separate accounting entity concept. Accounting entity concept. And there is another concept is separate legal entity concept. Two concepts are there. One is separate accounting entity concept, one is separate legal entity concept. As per separate accounting entity concept, proprietor and business are two different entities. Why? Because business is going to record only business's own transactions, not proprietor's personal transactions. Neither business will record proprietor personal transaction, nor proprietor will record the business's transactions. That is why from recording point of view, transaction recording point of view, Mr. X and business are two separate entities. That is for accounting purpose. But the law of the land says that Mr. X and Mr. X's business are not two different persons. They are same. So whatever is the asset of business are also asset of Mr. X. Whatever are liabilities of business are also of liabilities of Mr. X. Therefore, in this case, 25,000 has to be paid off by Mr. X. Is it clear? If you say yes, then I'll dictate this. Otherwise, I'll explain again. Please unmute and tell me. There is separate accounting entity concept, separate legal entity concept. According to the law of the land, sole proprietorship business does not have any separate legal entity, but sole proprietorship business has got separate accounting entity. Accounting entity concept comes because of the fact that business has got its own transactions, proprietor has got his own transactions. So there should not be a mixture of business transaction and proprietor's transaction. Therefore, proprietor will not record any business transaction. Business will not record proprietor's personal transaction. To have a separate accounting entity, they treat this in this manner. But separate legal entity says that there is no difference between Mr. X and Mr. X's business legally. Whatever are the assets of business are also assets of Mr. X. Whatever are liabilities of Mr. of business are also liabilities of Mr. X. And why they started a business. So X and Y, that is more than one owner. That is why it is called partnership business. And business and partners are separate from accounting point of view. Legally, partnership business, does this have separate legal entity? No. That means, what does it mean? Any asset of the business goes to the partners. Any liabilities of the business goes to the partners. Now there can be one little tricky part here. Suppose business has got a liability meaning which is to be paid. Business has got a liability of rupees 5 lakh, but business could not pay. So the supplier goes to partner Y. Y says, see, I don't have any money right now. I can pay you only 50,000 rupees. Therefore, balance 4,50,000. Will X bear that or will X not bear that? There lies the question. Earlier, sole proprietor, meaning one single owner was there. He had to bear the liability. If he could not bear, then he will be termed as insolvent, isn't it? In this case, there are two owners, X and Y. So the supplier goes to Y's place first and says that, okay, I have supplied goods worth rupees 5 lakh on credit. You pay me. The business could not pay. So Y says that I don't have money. Yes, it is a transaction. Is it a transaction from business point of view? Yes, it is a transaction from business point of view. Is it a transaction from Mr. X point of view? No. It is not a personal transaction. Therefore, it is to be recorded in the business books of account? Yes, it is. Mr. X purchased a mobile. Is it a transaction from Mr. X point of view? Yes. Is it a transaction from business point of view? No. Therefore, it is not to be recorded in the business books. Therefore, transaction is to be recorded in the books of accounts, must be relating to business only and not relating to any personal transactions of Mr. X. So, Mr. X started a business with rupees 5 lakhs. Now the question is how to record this transaction. We follow one concept known as double entry concept. Double entry concept. Double entry concept. What does it state? It states that as and when a transaction takes place, we have to identify two sides of it. Two sides, one or two aspects, better. Two aspects of it. One aspect will be known as debit, and the other aspect will be known as credit. Debit comes from the Latin word debitum. It means receiving of benefit. And credit comes from the Latin word creditum. It comes from the general meaning is giving of benefit. So in any transaction, there has to be a receiving as well as giving aspect of the same amount. That is why always debit is equal to credit. If you buy a chocolate of 100 rupees and if you pay only 10 rupees, that cannot make a transaction. You have to pay 100 rupees. Therefore, debit amount will always correspond to credit amount. That means debit amount and credit amount must be same. And any transaction you come across, you think of any transaction from today onwards, you will find from your point of view, there is a receiving aspect, there is a giving aspect. The receiving aspect will be termed as debit and giving aspect termed as credit. You cannot switch over to other party's point of view and think of his receiving or giving. You have to think of from your point of view that what you are receiving and what you are giving. On that basis, you have to judge or take judgment which one is to be debited and which one is to be credited. And later on, we'll elaborate this also. And right now, you know that according to double entry concept, every transaction must involve two aspects. One is receiving of benefit, one is giving of benefit. The receiving of benefit is termed as debit, the giving of benefit is termed as credit. Always debit and credit will correspond because the one transaction cannot have two amounts involved in it. Therefore, it has to be same. We'll continue with that in the next class. Thank you.